Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined today by Jake Davis.
Jake Davis, it's me. Boys Day.
Boys Day.
Boys Day.
Disclaimer, we are straight white males. We're trying, but you know, it's probably going to be all privileged and fucked up.
We're gonna make some mistakes. Shannon's not here to yell at us, so bear with us. We're gonna have a good time.
We are males afflicted with Tim Robinson disorder. Some of you know about the recent debut of I Think You Should Leave. So Jake and I's whole friendship is now quoting this show.
A lot of it. Did you see that article where people are writing that it's like degenerative to male language?
Yeah. Because I was like, my boyfriend has basically been ruined by I Think You Should Leave.
It's funny because, you know, I mean, usually when you're not in town, we just don't do the show because you have all the equipment and stuff.
Right.
But when it made me realize when Shannon was out of town, which is a rarity, there's been a couple of times, like, if I'm not here, it's because I had work or something.
Yeah.
When you're not here, it's these wild snowboarding adventures. I woke up at 3 a.m. with a guy named Ravioli. We're going to a mountain in Colorado. We're driving for 17 hours. And then Shannon's vacations are just like, we're going to Hawaii. I don't know.
Yeah. She's all subdued about it.
It's cool. I like it.
You're going to Hawaii?
Yeah,
Shannon?
We're going to an active volcano. We're gonna.
Okay. Are you even excited?
You know, it's a volcano. It's active. It's better than a dormant one.
Active volcano. Okay. Well, all right. Well, when are you going to be back?
2, 4, 9.
She's always like, yeah, we're staying at my boyfriend's palace. They have a couple palaces up there. I'm sorry, a palace? Yeah, it's like a kingdom. I would say it's a small kingdom.
But there is variation to it because sometimes it'll just be like, we're going to a haunted cowboy town.
Yeah, that's true. It's like randomly rinky-dink. It's like the nicest things in the world, and then it's like...
She's living the life shantastic.
We're going to a tiny bog. It's like the smallest bog.
I feel like she'll appreciate my impression of her a lot more than your impressions of her. Because my impression, I feel like my version of Shannon is just very matter of fact and just like...
yours is good. Mine's bad. Mine's like hacky, like, oh my God, comedy. Now, we are going to do a new segment here. I would really love anybody's feedback on these. I'm really enjoying doing these, but these are, we tried it with pop culture celebrity stuff, but today we just got 2 news stories. So this is kind of like our AITA in the news, but these are 100% true. Jake and I wrote these bad boys. And they're real news stories, just put in an AITA format. Here we go. AITA for making TikToks in the courtroom as a judge. I, 58M, am a judge from New Jersey. Yes, contrary to popular belief, there are laws in New Jersey. There are. I saw the TikToks y'all making. I wanted to lip sync too. I posted 40 videos to an anonymous account under a fake name. Sal Tortorella.
Great name.
Now a formal complaint, alleges my TikTok songs contain references to violence, sex, and misogyny. Yeah, some were filmed in the judicial chambers or my bed, including one which I was partially dressed. And yes, there was also one where I wore a Beavis and Butthead shirt in the courthouse. Yes, I also lip sync pony, saying on TikTok, ride it, my pony, come and jump on it. Yes, I lip sync Busta Rhymes saying she turned around as I was trying to put my beep in her mouth. It was for TikTok, AITA.
I mean, I do love the concept of a judge who's like, yeah, I'm doing the whole judge thing. But what I'm really excited is when my lip syncing career takes off. I play my cards right. I'm going to be on that Jimmy Fallon show in no time, and I can leave all this dumb judging nowhere job behind me.
It's like... What are you doing, bro? I guess that is like, I almost need that to be true. What you just said, where I'm like, you better have a big dream here because you are a judge, sir.
You're a judge.
You're a judge.
That's a really hard thing to accomplish, being a judge.
It's a huge accomplishment. You know, we've talked a lot about decorum on the pod, and I know there's different opinions. Look, a doctor, in my view, is you go to school long enough and you become a doctor. And what I've said, Jake, I know you're not necessarily familiar with all this lore. Yes, we're allowed to say lore.
Oh,
Shannon's not here. Is, you know, I want my doctor to be boring. I want them to be plain Jane. I don't want them to be any kind of antics. I want the straight shots. You're a professional. Other people disagree, though. Some people say, like, you know, I got a lot of tattoos. Like, my doctor has tattoos. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Judge is a special case.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with him doing this. I think that it's a lack of... pardon the pun here. It's a lack of judgment.
There we go.
To do this to they say don't piss where you eat. Don't lip sync where you judge. This seemed very avoidable in that regard, and maybe just have the foresight to not do it in your bed. I don't eat in my bed, and you're lip syncing on TikTok in there. It just seems like I would have a lot of concern about how you're ruling on cases if you are just like, I don't see a problem with me doing TikToks in a court of law when nobody's around. I kind of respect it. It's funny, but I wouldn't do it.
Ultimately, I think you're right. It looks bad on your judgment. And ultimately, even though there are obviously credentials like a doctor, but you're sort of riding on the fact that we are putting you in a position where we trust you to make important decisions. And when you're in your freaking undies singing offensive lyrics, you just don't look like a guy who has it together.
Yeah, imagine this guy presiding over a case that could send you to jail for like 20, 25 years. And then you're just like, you find out through the grapevine, like, it's the fucking lip syncing judge? The lip syncing judge is sending me Sal Tortorella? Is that his name?
Not Sal Tortilla. It's Tortorella. I've been a lifelong fan. You like his stuff?
Sal Totinos.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I feel too like, look, does a judge have a right to go out with their friends and get drunk and sing offensive lyrics? Of course. Of course, they're human beings, but I actually feel like we always say in this pod, put it in writing. And when I say put it in writing, that's because you are trying to play by the book and play by the rules. So you want them to put it in writing for a transaction or whatever it may be. But let me offer the exact opposite advice. If you are doing something that's on the line, like singing racist lyrics or sexist lyrics or sexual lyrics, do not put it in writing. Or video, for that matter. In other words, do not make a record of it. So I really feel like this just, again, I mean, Jake, you're nailing it. It's just straight up bad judgment. It's a bad look. Do I think he should instantly have his thing pulled? No. I actually think this is kind of a perfect situation where the complaint was lodged and apparently he, deleted the account. Which, dude, you should have deleted the account.
This is a warning. I think that a warning is fine here. And it actually does kind of, like, a good example of this. Do you know about Vin Diesel's YouTube channel?
No.
Vin Diesel just has a whole bunch of videos online of him just singing karaoke songs. Like in a room by himself. The man just loves singing karaoke. He wants to share his gift with the world.
Highly endearing.
But that's Vin Diesel. That's Dominic Toretto, not Sam Tortorella. Two different guys.
Totally different guys.
I'm fine with Vin Diesel having bad judgment because he's Vin Diesel. He's not a judge.
He's not a judge.
Well, now I kind of want Vin Diesel to be a judge. Now that we're
would be
talking
terrifying.
about it.
I'd be like, I'm going to go to prison for not being fast and furious enough. Like, I wasn't cool enough for this guy.
Do you love your family?
Yes, Your Honor.
Innocent. Not guilty,
What?
I mean.
No,
he's not good at it either. He forgets his lines all the
He
time.
says innocent.
Then he starts recording karaoke in the
I'm just going to
courtroom.
sing a little song for y'all.
That reminds me of a Dolly Parton number. 1, 2, 3, hit it.
Your Vin Diesel's good.
Thank you.
Nonetheless, I think he backed off. He deleted it. He didn't double down. I don't think anyone was really harmed. I mean, they say that he, they got all legalistic and were like, he has harmed the credibility of our great fine chamber. They get
the
all
state
fancy.
of New Jersey will never recover from this blemish. What do you want to bet this dude Shannon's uncle or something?
Yeah, of course, right? AITA for making TikToks in the courtroom as a judge. I think I could call this like YTA, but time served. I feel like
I think that's probably
it's kind of endearing too.
It's cute. It's kind of cute.
He showed his nephew and was like, "Hey, look at this! I did right."
That's the part of this I want to see is him him being told that people saw it and him being like, "Well, yeah, but it was pretty good." Right?
Yeah, what'd you think of the sync? Yeah, it took me 25 takes. All right, well, we're recording this on July 5th, so we got a very fun July 4th themed one. Here is JD.
AITA for eating 62 hot dogs. I, 39M, am a professional competitive eater. I've been at it 18 years. This July 4th, I won my 16th Nathan's Hot Dog Contest on Coney Island. I ate 62 dogs. My record is 76, so bad year. Some find my profession to be gross and wasteful. It's obviously gross. They believe consuming that much for a joke competition is unethical. But I've trained diligently for this line of work, and it's allowed me to provide a great life for my family, bringing home competition paydays as large as $500,000. I also have a line of my own hot dogs, condiments, and buns that I donate 100% of the proceeds from. Some people say it's wasteful, but I'm proud of what I've accomplished and get to say I'm the best in the world at what I do. Also, do you have any water? AITA.
He's thirsty, people.
We are, of course, talking about Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut.
Legend in his field.
He's won the freaking thing 16 times.
16 times, and this isn't the only eating contest he does. I can't off topic tell you what else. This is his signature.
It's the one, though, right? I don't really feel like...
It's the one that people talk about, and have you ever watched it on TV?
I haven't actually.
It's actually pretty funny. They understand what it is. They make a big spectacle out of it. Everybody gets like big walkouts and like theme music and stuff. They take the piss out of themselves. And Joey at this point, because he's such a legend, like the guy who announces for it, I wish I had this dude's chops on a mic. Like he gave Joey Chestnut this wild intro this year of like the evolution of humanity demands perfection of the body in this like huge build. And so they have a lot of fun with it. I appreciate showmanship. And it's interesting for me because this is something that like for all my ethics, the way that I look at a lot of things in the world, I kind of make an exception to my rules to not be pissed off at this because this is wasteful. Nobody needs to eat 62 hot dogs in one sitting. And we're not even considering all the other people that were competing in this too. Probably put up like a measly 44.
Embarrassing.
Weak,
what are you doing?
Weak. Your father spins in his grave with those hot dog numbers.
God.
And definitely just like the veracity that they have to have when they do this. I can understand anybody just being like grossed out watching it. But I just have such a hard time not having some goddamn respect for how hard these competitors have dedicated themselves to getting really good at this. And I mean, also, if you're look him up, Joey Chestnut's in great shape. It's not like this is like, I'm sure it's not great for your body, but these guys stay in like, and they're all different. They stay in
all things. I am 100% sure of this not being good for your body.
There's no way.
The amount of processed meat that you're processing. Yeah, I gotta say that the accusation of wasteful, I mean, it is wasteful, but I actually think there's a very common thing that people have. I've talked about it before. I don't know if we've lined up on this, but like I have a thing with wasting food.
Sure.
For some reason, wasting food to me is very bad.
Yeah.
And I think it comes a lot from like how moms get kids to eat and stuff, like they're starving kids in Africa is like a thing that we were told as kids. And so you almost feel like you're taking away from them and you should be grateful. But like, look, we live in a developed country where many of us are fortunate enough to. I hope maybe some of you listening don't, and I hope your country develops around you. That felt dismissive. Anyway, awkward. You guys get what I mean. Food being wasted is okay. We have an abundance of food. There's enough food to go around. Like the reason there's not enough food in the world isn't because you wasted some of your food. Like that's not how it works at all.
Yeah, it's not like the rice would have gone somewhere else.
Yeah, if there was like a pipe in your house that went straight to the starving kids, then that would be really fucked up. Feed the kids.
No!
It
goes in the trash!
I'm not eating it. Yeah, so I guess I feel like, look, I mean, any professional endeavor involving athleticism is going to be wasteful. You're going to consume more food to build bigger muscles. I mean, you could make this charge about so many things. In fact, maybe I'd even give some credit to competitive eating just for being honest about what it is. It's like piggish and indulgent, but like if you're a bodybuilder, you take steroids, you take, performance enhancing drugs. I mean, that's like across every sport these days. You eat ridiculous amounts of food. Like you're doing everything to maximize your body. I mean, is it wasteful? Yeah, it's wasteful. You're literally like cyborging yourself to eke out, 0.4 seconds faster on the 100 meter,
Yeah. And then there's probably also something to be said about just anything that brings humans together in large congregation amounts. The waste and the trash and everything that you see at those, it's immune. It doesn't matter if we're talking about theater. It doesn't matter if we're talking... Have you been to a movie theater recently? Have you seen what a movie theater looks like when the lights come on? Just like
everywhere.
Everybody buys the large popcorn and nobody can eat the entire bag of large popcorn. And by the time you hit the 90-minute mark of the movie, that popcorn is nasty. It is hardly fit for human consumption anymore.
Eaten within 20 minutes. I mean, I see why people think it's gross and it's a, indictment of America, but I really think a lot of that has to do with a broader cultural problem because, like...
And it's not immune to America, too. It's a global thing. Like, they're popular in Japan.
Yeah, Kobayashi, right? Kobayashi won some years.
Joey Chestnut unseated Kobayashi, if I'm remembering that correctly. He kind of stormed onto the scene, and I want to say Kobayashi was able to score 1 or 2 on Chestnut during Chestnut's reign. Like, they did go back and forth a little bit, but Joey's just been the name in the game since then. And I swear I'm not even a competitive eating fan. I just think that...
Yeah, Jake loves it.
Joey Chestnut, 16 world titles at this. You compare that to other professional athletes, the most rings in the history of the NBA, 15 rings, Bill Russell.
Really? So he's like the most...
Tom Brady, 7 for the NFL. Like, he is the most championships in any... Compared to the big 5 sports in America.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
I would say, look, would I meet Joey Chestnut, shake his hand? Would I have him on the pod? Absolutely. But would I be like, yeah, you're a lot like Michael Jordan? I wouldn't. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't be like, you're the same as Roger Federer. No, that's not gonna come out of my mouth.
The Michael Jordan of hot dogs does have a really funny ring to it.
Yeah, that is fun. That is, but it's kind of weird. Maybe that's not fair to say because I go, well, there's something about your build. Obviously, there's training, right? But in the end, it's got to come down to like your body type and, your body being able to do this.
It might not be Joey. It might have been Kobayashi, but there's somebody in the game who's naturally just built for it.
Yeah.
Like their stomach sits lower than other people. So it actually just gives them a tremendous advantage.
That's the thing. I'm sure you can maximize your performance, but in the end, it's genetic. But then I go, well, isn't that true about every sport? I mean, I feel like certain sports are more strategic. Maybe my tennis bias is showing, but I'm like, I don't think you could be genetically good at tennis. Maybe if you're a power player strictly, but power doesn't win
I think
tennis.
there's probably some exceptions, like the big draft, the big star in the NBA draft this summer was from France. He's 7'5". So if you're 7'5", that's a pretty big advantage. Like, and I've always said, like, if I was even an inch taller than I am now, I would hate it because then the expectation is just like, why don't you play sports?
It's unethical.
And that's already on me. But I'm like, I'm just tall enough. I don't feel bad that I'm not good at sports. If I was any taller, I'd feel bad.
A 7'5" person is taller than you.
Yeah.
Than you are to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's too big.
That's really tall.
That's too big.
He'd terrify you. You just collapse in on yourself if you saw him.
I'm not going to deal with a guy like that. That is too much. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. We're going to do one submission here, and then we got a fun little app for you. The submission, here we go. AITA for telling my friend to die in a hole. She, 24F, told me that I was ugly. AITA.
That's it. That's all we got. A lot of room for information. I think this is just a swing in the dark.
So they said die in a hole after they said you're ugly. I actually do think I can form a verdict here because I feel like die in a hole, it's harsh, but it's like obviously a joke. It's not a threat.
Yeah.
It's like go die in a hole, Jake. I feel like that's a lot less personal than calling someone ugly. Calling someone ugly is pretty mean.
It is pretty mean. I do think you're still kind of wishing death on somebody.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It depends. Like I've had friendships that we would always tell each other go die. I've never had a friendship where we call each other ugly though. That just seems a lot harsher to me.
Yeah, no, it is. It is very insulting. I think that you're always going to have a knee-jerk reaction to that kind of thing. And, funny enough, most people, unless you want to get cremated, most of us are going to be dead in a hole. There's exceptions to that.
Yeah,
you might be dead in the ocean.
Good. That's a pretty good refute. I think you're backing me up here on die in a hole is a lot less bad than ugly.
I think it was a little nuclear. I think it might have...
Die in a hole was nuclear?
Yeah, I think that's a little nuclear. Just like a good old, hey, fuck you might have sufficed in this situation. So... I don't know. I feel like there is a need for more info, but I feel like I'm ready to go with my verdict on this one.
AITA for telling my friend to die in a hole. I think you're thinking ESH?
I'm thinking ESH.
You are thinking ESH?
Yeah, I'm thinking ESH.
I don't know. I mean, the way OP said, they said, she 24F told me I was ugly. Oh, but we don't actually know the order. I guess I thought that they responded...
That's what I was assuming,
AITA for telling
too.
my friend to die in a hole. You assumed it was a response.
Yeah.
I think I really wanted to settle this, but we don't even know the order.
This might be a big info.
I think we got to go in.
We probably should have anticipated that a 1-sentence submission.
I thought we could do it.
I did too. We flew too close to the sun.
We flew too close to the sun. Now we're Icarus falling into the sea next to the
This is what happens when
Titan.
Shannon's not here.
Yeah. All right. Well, info on that, OP. Let us know more about this. You and this friend who talk shit to each other. And by the way, if anyone's like, my submission is way better. Yes, we picked a very short submission because Shannon's not here.
Yeah, we didn't want to do any heavy lifting on this one. This is Goof Town. This is Goof Town, USA, baby.
We're not going anywhere serious. Our second story of the day, AITA for lying about the hotel cancellation policy. But first, I'm excited about this. AITA for being shamed for tipping $1 per shot. I was at one of my favorite local pizza spots in Chicago, celebrating my friend's birthday. We ordered several rounds of cocktails and food. There were 6 of us. And on a separate tab, I asked for 2 rounds of shots that I wanted to keep separate since this was my idea to get the birthday girl trashed. I wanted to make sure it didn't make the other tab complicated. After a few hours, we ordered our checks and I gave my credit card for 12 shots, $10 a shot. My friend put her credit card for the big food drinks tab to make it easy, and we'd Venmo her later. When she brought the tabs back out for us to sign, my friend with the big tab asked, is 25% tip okay with everyone? For the shots, I tipped $12 total. As we were getting ready to leave, the waitress came back to the table and said to me in front of everyone, something along the line of, I just want you to know, I'm now losing money because of your tip. 80% of this tip will go to the bartender and bar pack, so thanks for that. I tried to explain that we weren't trying to short her and that because this is a bar tab, I stuck to the $1 a drink / shot. Mind you, I've worked in the service industry in the past, as have my friends. So since for that particular tab and the service required was minimal, mostly came from the bartender, I didn't see anything wrong with that, especially when we were tipping very well on the part tab that probably drove her crazy with 6 loud and tipsy girls. So AITA for not tipping more on that tab.
This is a hot button issue right now, the tipping. I see a lot of people, this is just popping up every corner of the internet I see of just people, getting really frustrated with tipping culture. And part of my frustration with it is I feel like we villainize service industry workers over it. Like it's their idea. Yeah. I'm seeing that a lot with Starbucks and how they now have the digital tipping option there. Sure. And I always do just because I've worked jobs akin to what they're doing and it fucking sucks. So it's just my quiet little way to feel better about utilizing their labor in those instances. And I get why people don't do it. I'm not condemning anybody who doesn't, but I think it's absurd that we're villainizing people who are just working at a company that's basically trying to get out of having to pay them a fair wage for their work.
I think so. I mean, I think we should end the damn thing. The more we do these situations, I'm just like, everybody should be able to work for a living, for God's sake. And we don't need this dog eat dog bullshit.
Absolutely. And kudos. This is something else I saw earlier this week. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the guys behind South Park, they bought Casa Bonita out in Colorado. Famous it's called the Disneyland of Mexican restaurants.
Oh,
that's
nice.
how it's pitched. And it was, they really important to them growing up, being Colorado kids, and they've refurbished it. They revamped the menu. They brought it all back, and they forbade tipping, and they're paying everybody $30 an hour, healthcare, 401k matching, reasonable. All that stuff. So, and I think that's kind of where we've got to go. We've got to get with the rest of the world on this, and it's just happening here.
I think so. I understand the pain. Look, I mean, people are struggling, I mean, we're all feeling it. It's ridiculous. It's just become much more expensive to be alive. The price of everything went up and it super sucks. Meantime, it's just as true as it ever was for servers. That said, I think there's some grayer areas. I think coffee shop is a little bit of a gray area. I think $1 per drink at the coffee shop is pretty a recognized rule. Mm-hmm. That's usually going to come out to about 20%. It's also kind of pickup. It's not full service. This is my issue, Jake. This is a full service restaurant. Yep. I don't see this as a gray area. To me, this is a clear-cut case where 20% is the standard for good service. For good service. And it sounds like they got good service. Now, I have known people, wealthy people, and they decide that there's different rules for alcohol. And I'm like, there's no different rules. The rules are 20% is good service. If you are indulging like a pig in a $500 bottle of wine, then why don't you not be a fuck and give $100 to your server for it? You are the one who's indulging like a swine sweating in the field. I mean, come on, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And look, if you want to do it and it's your money, that's great. But have a sense for what you're doing. And I feel like it's just very entitled. And it's like, come on, if you're going to be that decadent, then tip.
There's also the factor of anytime I'm part of a group at a restaurant, and I factor that into a bonus. Your job's harder, especially in this environment. They said it in the post. They're dealing with rowdy drunk people here.
That's a good point.
That gets factored in every time for me. I'm going to tip over. And you have to almost get to a point where you spit in my face and call me a fuck for me to not tip you 20%. Because even if you're distracted, if I don't get the best service in the world, I'm still probably going to tip you 20% because I don't know what the fuck's going on in your life.
With a big drunk party?
Yeah, 25 minimum. Oh,
I feel
in
mortified
if
my party sucks. Yeah.
I think I would not ding, but maybe give the constructive criticism to the server of don't challenge somebody on it in the moment. That's probably not going to work out for your best interest. Now you're open to a complaint with the manager, but I'm not going to ding because I don't know what kind of night that person's having.
Dangerous move.
Risky,
risky. Yes, with you there. Perfectly put. Yeah, I just feel like it's 20%. So OP, they got 12 shots. They gave $1 a shot. That was $120. I mean, come on. That to me is very decadent. You're spending $120 on shots. Like, come on. Like, that's sickening.
I think $25, $30 is very reasonable.
Yeah, $24 would be 20%. And it's like, I don't really understand the mechanics. That was the one part where I lost. I'm losing money because of your tip, because I guess there would be $12 more there. I don't understand how they could lose money.
We'll ask Shannon when she comes back from the Hawaii Palace.
Shannon knows everything. Nonetheless, I just feel like, look, it's hard to be a server. I think it's psychologically hard too. I know it might be easier for other people. It's very hard for me. I think it's like, look, the reason I think it's so hard too is like, if you work a shitty office job, so what? You're at a shitty office and it sucks, and I hope you get paid more, but you're a server. You're literally working while you're surrounded by people having fun. Like, it's not great.
It's definitely not the same thing, but I remember the feeling of like, when I was bud tending, if somebody was a dick to me, it's just like, oh, cool, I'm glad I'm selling you fun drugs to go have fun, and you're being a dick to me as you're about to go off and have fun with your fun drugs. That's so like not even close to the same level of physical and mental output. Serving is brutal. It's rough.
I mean, but it could be, right? I know a lot of those people talk to you for a while, and
I've worked in service industry. I've worked in retail. Service industry is typically going to be more demanding. I had some exceptions with retail that were just very specific because of like heavy lifting and whatever, and just like weird work environment.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, service industry is going to drain you so much faster than a retail environment.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm too much of a coward to ever do either of those things. But I just feel like, what is a restaurant? You got to pretend you're a king, right?
Yeah.
You got your little servants, we call them servers, but really they're acting like servants. And I just think it's a little bit gross and entitled when people think they don't have to tip what we've all said is the standard rate for good service. I don't care what it is. And like, that's the other thing too, is that it's completely arbitrary to go, well, alcohol's different. Why? Then why aren't oysters different, or raw food, or anything with it? Is caviar different?
Right.
It's just 20%, dog. Don't try to fucking do little tricks around it and come up with your own logic. That's the convention. You want to act like a king and eat the caviar or drink the champagne? Tip the fucking rate. You can afford it.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I'm right there with you. It's really frustrating. And honestly, I think tipping culture emboldens this idea that service industry workers are, like you said, servants. And I've met so many people, usually older, who have this attitude of like, well, you're working for me right now. No, you are fucking not. You're working at a place that you are patronizing. Like, I disagree with the idea that like your server is working for you. I hate that idea. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think that comes with the tipping culture.
Yeah,
because the idea that it is like a servant has to also do with the fact that it's not a team mentality. You're not being served by the restaurant. You're being served by this person. By fucking Jillian over here. So whereas I know that a lot of these restaurants where people are paid that way, not by tips, they tend to work more together because nobody gives a shit, because everyone's just like, yeah, I want everyone to have a good night.
Right.
I'm not doing anything. Let me help you with your table. There's no sense of competition. There's nothing like that. It's just like, let's just get it done. I think if you can afford it, if you can afford to spend $120 on poison for your friends, alcohol bias coming out, I think please tip the rate. I think that's reasonable. AITA, shame for tipping $1 per shot. Yes, I am saying YTA. You are the asshole.
Absolutely.
Whoo! Brought Jake with me to anti-boozer town. All right, guys, here we go. It's AITA for lying about hotel cancellation policy. I, 27F, am planning an all-inclusive couples trip to Jamaica for 8 people, including my boyfriend and I and 3 other couples. It's around my birthday, so I wanted to get away. It took me a few days to find flights for 8 people all together and to find a nice all-inclusive hotel that fell within all of our budgets. I finally booked everything, and one of the couples called to confirm if we will certainly be staying at the hotel I chose, since I was indecisive at first and booked the refundable option. Once I confirmed, my friend, 28F, and her boyfriend, 29M, asked if I could cancel their room so they could book it themselves and get the points. At first, they said it was so that they could use points to pay for their room, then accidentally revealed they would be paying on their card to earn points. This would entail canceling the entire reso to rebook for one less room. At first, I thought I was being selfish for wanting to earn the points, but I did all the work to find and organize a trip for 8 of us. And if I cancel my original reso, I lose out on the promotion they were having when I booked, around 12K bonus hotel points. They aren't running the promo, so it'd be 0 when I rebook. Because of this, I told them yesterday was the last day I could cancel. Should I just let them book their own room and rebook for the 6 of us? The other 2 couples are okay with how everything was booked. AITA for lying or being upset about this.
This is such a harebrained scheme is the best phrase I can think of it. Like, how many hoops are you jumping through for the credit card points? Which credit card points never motivate me for
12,000 points. I think that'll get you $120 worth.
I never bother even thinking about them. I'm sure I've accrued a lot of points over the years. Jackie loves credit card points, and I have several friends who swear by them and have figured out incredible ways to utilize the system. I've just never bothered to do it. So more power to you if you're that invested.
Yeah, do you really want to spend your life like this with the fake points?
Yeah, this seems beyond the pale a bit with how heavier. It's very ungrateful to your friends who are already doing this as well. Like,
I think so, man. I think if you're gonna book something, by the way, it's their birthday, right? Didn't we catch that? It was their birthday.
Yeah.
It's around my birthday. So this is basically a birthday trip. OP books the birthday trip. They're point hungry. Look, I think that's a benefit to booking your own trips. I mean, Jake, you produced this awesome festival in the desert, and I hope you got some point benefits from that. That can be a great reason to throw a trip. I mean, it's a nice little perk, but it's not going to be a sizable amount of money. Even if you're spending 10 grand, like, you're not going to get that many points. Like, you're going to get maybe a couple $100 worth, which is like barely worth it. You're probably not going to be incentivized to plan for that reason. And, you know, anytime like you did the festival and anytime anybody plans anything, it's just like so nice to not have to worry about it and just show up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've been joking in the podcast group because I'll be like, Jake, do you have any preferences for Airbnb? What'd you say, Jake?
I was I can sleep on a couch. I don't care.
I was like,
there's a roof and walls and door locks, right? I'm square.
So they don't ask for anything, the show horses, but I'm a little picky. I want a hot tub and a gym and a pool. So, you know, I'm the pain in the ass. I booked it. But like, it's just like one of those things where you're doing all this and like, no, I don't want to undo my reso so that you can get points. You botched it. You should have said nothing. They had no reason. They were getting points greedy. For what? For 2 people? It's going to be like $50.
I think some people just need to make noise. They just need to they need to be a problem. And
I bet they figured out how many points OP was getting. They're like, we should be getting points, babe. We should be getting points.
I can't imagine being motivated by that kind of thing. Like, I'm not even going to call it take the L. Just take the nothing.
It's a nothing.
Take the favor. It's a net gain for you.
Yes, you didn't have to do nothing. That was the points you got, babe.
Oh my
You got the fucking points. I think this is ridiculous. You know, I think a white lie is okay. A white lie because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to make a conflict.
Yeah.
Yes, people, I'm saying it. I think there's situations where you can just lie. It's going to be a problem. I don't want to undo it. I don't want to deal with you because then you know they're going to come back. Well, we have a right to do what we want to do. You don't want to have that fight. Lie, baby.
Yeah.
Lie.
I think, I mean, it's also like, you do have a right to do what you want to do. So I guess buy your own room, but no, I'm not canceling the reservation and you're paying me for that room.
Yeah.
You agreed to this. Like, if you really want points, get yourself another room.
I mean, the worst I could say is maybe OP should be like, listen, I'm going to have to rebook the whole thing and I don't want to do that. End of sentence, to be transparent.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, you might get a fight. You don't know. I don't know what these people would respond.
I think that's what I would do in this situation.
You would
I would just tell them, like, I'm not canceling the entire reservation and rebooking it. I don't even know if we're going to be able to get the same rooms again. Hotels can be weird about that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah,
I'm not jumping through that hoop for you. And
you wouldn't lie. You wouldn't lie.
Not on this one, but I get what you're saying. I can agree with you on that concept there. But I think in this situation, it's very easy to just straight up tell them of like, I'm not jumping through this hoop for you guys. This is a silly fight to pick. If you really want the points, get yourself a separate room, but you're still paying me for this room that I booked for you. Like, I think you got to draw a line in the sand with
points. That. You want $50? Do you guys want $50? You want me to just send you a fucking $50 gift card?
I'll get you an Amazon gift card.
Yeah.
You guys like Whataburger?
Yeah.
I'll get you a Whataburger gift card.
No, we hate Whataburger. No.
Jack in the Box then. I can do this all day.
Yeah, the points game. I think we're both thinking of a mutual friend we have that, like, I don't know what this guy did, but he has like unlimited flights or some insane perk that you're like, how can that?
He figured it out.
He figured it out, but like it was reaching Enron levels of complexity. I frankly don't even know if it's worth it what this guy had to do. But AITA for lying about hotel cancellation policy. I honestly think there is a time and a place to just lie. There's the classic lie of like, do I look bad in this suit? That's not really the proverb. Right, I kind of remixed it for y'all. Yeah. But, and it's like sometimes lying is just social lubricant. Let's move on. It's not a substantial truth. I think this is fine. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think that you did any. I think this is NTA and they are.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. You would go that they're the asshole just for asking?
Well, it didn't seem like they made us think about it. If they just asked, it's not a big deal. If they made us think about it.
They asked if I could cancel their room so they could book it themselves to get the points. At first they said it was so they could use points to pay for their room. Then revealed they would actually be paying for their card to earn the points.
Okay. I guess I can go no assholes.
I don't really think they went that hard.
No, I can go no assholes here. I thought they were upset that they weren't doing it for him. Okay. Yeah, no assholes here.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. All right, guys, we're wrapping up on one that I frankly thought Jake might get worked up about, so we'll see what happens. AITA for telling my friend to leave our Airbnb. Me and my boyfriend, F20 and M20, rented a lake house Airbnb that was completely paid for by me and Alex, which is the boyfriend. Everyone else was in charge of food, snacks, alcohol, and any activities we wanted to do. We didn't ask anyone to pay for their share of the Airbnb. We paid for it. So me and my boyfriend, there's all these people that they name. The lake house has 4 bedrooms. Bedrooms 1, 2, and 3 have king beds, and bedroom 4 has a bunk bed. We specifically got this Airbnb because it made sense that the couples would sleep on the kings and the 2 singles would get the bunk bed. Everyone drove up to the Airbnb this morning. Me and my boyfriend were the last ones that got there because we stopped to get everybody some lunch. By the time we got there, everyone had picked their rooms and unloaded their bags. The last room was the bunk bed room. I stepped out into the living room where everyone was and asked why Lauren and Simon weren't sleeping in the bunk bed room. Lauren said, oh, the king bed was actually more comfortable. Me and Simon didn't want to sleep on the bunk bed. I said, oh, that's not really fair. The other couples all got a king bed. The bunk bed was specifically for you guys, so please just move your stuff. Lauren then said, no, we got here first, so we get dibs. I then said, okay, either you guys move into the bunk bed room or you guys can leave. Me and Alex are the ones that paid for the Airbnb, so at the end of the day, what we say goes. Lauren got all mad, grabbed her stuff, and left. Simon got up and said it wasn't a problem that he'd move into the bunk bed room.
Hail King Simon.
I got a text from Lauren saying I was being a biatch over a literal bunk bed. All of our other friends are on our side about this, but I don't know. Am I the A?
Well, I just from my playbook here, whenever you're booking properties like this, you got a lot of people coming pre-assign the rooms. Get a sense for what everybody's expectations are, how they want to sleep for the weekend, and then use to your best judgment, get the people in the right rooms ahead of time. I try to get there. I'm always the first one anytime I do stuff like this. And like, if it's a big weekend, I make room placards. You guys got them this year. And I put them on everybody's rooms ahead of time. so that you know, okay, that's my room, and we avoid this situation. But Lauren here invoking dibs like a sneaky little muskrat.
She got dibs.
That dibs does not work in this environment. And I'll say, I'm going to take a little bit of a read here. I think Lauren was trying to bang Simon. Tried to set him up in the king bed together. I think she's been making, I think that, look, if you're the only two single people on a weekend with nothing but couples and you're in an alignment where the other person is attractive to you.
Yeah.
That sets the mood for magic. I think that there might have been some expectations heading into this weekend.
Is that what was said? That
they were both going to sleep in the king bed.
We're both going to sleep
what else? Unless Simon was going to sleep on the floor. And Queen Lauren was going to take the king bed.
Yeah, you're right. No, she said the king bed was more comfortable, so they were going to take a king. Well, you could still bang Simon in the bunk bed, Lauren. You know, is it that big of a deal? That's kind of hot. You know,
you think bunk bed sex is hot?
It has its perks. It's interesting.
You've imbibed.
I don't know if I've imbibed.
I feel like
honestly.
I'd destroy a bunk bed.
Yeah,
if
I don't like
that.
the idea of you in a bunk bed. Period. That seems dangerous for the whole structure.
You know what's weird? When I have been in bunk beds, I usually wind up having to take the top bunk simply because it's easier for me to get into and out of it. It's nothing. Like I basically just hoist a leg up there and roll into it.
This is like sleeping under a Wile E. Coyote piano trap. I'm not getting into that bunk bed. I really feel like, you know, I like what you said, putting it on the host a little bit, pre-distributing and assigning the beds. Well, I would also say, though, on the other side is if you're a guest and somebody else is the host and they're paying for the lodging, you better defer to the fucking host. I don't even think that's a question.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you guys actually did this. When I got the Airbnb, you know, I said, what room do you want? And you guys are like, whatever you want, Danny. You guys are very cool about that. I think that is appropriate. Because, you know, and then that's their thing and they got it for you. And, you know, I could see it getting a little complicated. It's interesting because we were talking about transactions on a different episode because this is a friend transaction. But it really does sound like, look, the bulk of the expense here by far is going to be the lodging. So the fact that there's like food, snacks, and alcohol, I don't even really see that as introducing that much complexity here. I mean, I could see it getting bad. They're like, yeah, we got a fucking 50-gallon drum of vodka from Russia. You're like, okay, well, that's a sizable.
Yeah.
You might want to pick your room in that case.
Yeah.
But like, for all intents and purposes, practical situations, I think they're being very reasonable. Everyone, you know, this is a reasonable setup.
I think that maybe fire caught fire here with the immediate go-to of like move into the bunk bed room or you can leave. That could have been communicated better.
I'm happy you brought us here. Let's get to that quote because there might be a ding there. So we get the setup. I stepped out in the living room. Lauren said the king bed was more comfortable. OP responds, the other couples all got a king bed. The bunk bed was for you guys. Please just move your stuff. No, we got here first, so we got dibs. I said, either you guys move into the bunk bed room or you guys can leave. That is a little harsh.
I think she is responding to the firm no from Lauren. Like whenever somebody says, like the fact that there was no room for, no, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Law of dibs, baby. Lauren's law. It's so I think that Lauren set it up for a fight. But again, like I think hosting comes with a lot of humility and you have to be willing to be more flexible than you normally would because your job is in a lot of ways to keep the peace, to keep the energy good. And you can't do that on your own. Everybody has to play ball with you. But I think that you might have been able to, I'm not going to say save, you could have salvaged this.
Maybe you could have salvaged it. I mean, look, I think she could have owned it right there by the very thing you said. She could have said, Lauren, I understand you're frustrated. I made a mistake. I should have told you that the beds were pre-assigned. I'm sorry, I messed up. Unfortunately, I told the couples that they were all getting king beds.
Yeah.
You know, would that be a tough thing to pull out when someone is looking at you heated, insisting they got dibs? Yes, nigh on impossible. But there might have just been a better way.
I'm curious about which couple wound up getting the bunk bed and what they said in this, because that I think are the people who could have met Lauren on her level of just like, you sneaky little fuck.
Well, no, Lauren left. What do you mean?
Lauren left. I mean, like when they took the king bed, the couple that's like, well, there's just a bunk bed left. We have to sleep in the
awkward
bunk
moment.
bed.
Yeah,
I could see them being the most heated out of the group of like, you guys can sleep in the bunk beds. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's weird. I love this person. And you're making me sleep in a bunk bed. Yeah.
Lauren's like, I'm trying to get laid. So I got dibs. Simon's so hot. Simon's like, I'm gay.
Yeah, okay. I do love Simon in this story because I'm just picturing somebody just quietly sitting there. I've been this person so many times where like I'm accidentally looped into somebody else's antics, and the whole time I'm just kind of like, I'm fine with. I'll sleep in the bunk
you
bed.
would be
I don't
Simon.
care. Yeah, I'll sleep. I'll sleep in a pile of hay in the barn.
Yeah. Lauren's like, he's taller than buildings I've gotten lost in. I want him. I think Lauren really overstepped here, and it's just not appropriate. This seems like a very generous thing that these hosts did. She thought dibs counted. I think a lot of us need to get woke to the fact it's the second time that we've gone to dibs, and like dibs, it really is not a legally binding thing.
No, it's really case by case. Like I'd say, front car in the seat, that's a dibs situation. Or front car in the seat, front seat in the car. That's a dibs situation.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, I will say when I broke my tailbone, many of you heard about my debilitating injury. I wanted front seat. And
extenuating circumstance.
Extenuating circumstance. So there's just times when dibs ain't it. That's it. And you got to be ready for that. I think Lauren overstepped here. We're not dinging OP. I think we're saying like maybe you could have handled this with a bit more grace, but it's hard to look someone in the eye. And also like the fact that it really was very generous, man. They were giving, they gave people the Airbnb for Lauren to be like dibs. It's like, damn girl, you coming in hot.
Yeah, definitely.
AITA for telling my friend to leave our Airbnb. We're agreeing it's harsh, and then we're saying NTA and Lauren is the asshole.
Agreed. And Simon, keep doing what you're doing, bud. No notes.
Guys, that's the app. Jake, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you all for joining me. And we'll see you guys on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Much love, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Try again. Here we go.
All right. Bye.
Shannon is the one throwing our harmony.
Shannon.
That was beautiful.
Shannon.
Fucking Shannon.
Shannon.